Welcome to Human Rights Asia Weekly Roundup. In this program, hurt, humiliation, and hunger continues in relief camps in Uttar Pradesh. Pakistani teen saves school from suicide bomber. Indonesian domestic helper tortured by employer in Hong Kong. War crimes investigation visit concludes in Sri Lanka. Also in Sri Lanka, church attacks rattles Christian community. Voices of Survivor this week from Assam. Stay with us for more on these issues. Welcome to Human Rights Asia Weekly Roundup. I am Anjuman Ara Begum. Even 4 months after the unprecedented riots that rocked western Uttar Pradesh, in particular Muzaffarnagar, Samli, Pakwad, there seems to be no end to the suffering of minority community. Killed, threatened, hounded out of their ancestral villages and abandoned by the state, they are compelled to wage a battle for mere survival in dilapidated relief camps run by the community support. Forced to live in nothing more than plastic sheeting in the biting cold, many have witnessed their children and elderly perish. HRC visited several of these camps in the first week of January and found out that though the actual riots started only on December 8, had been brewing for some time because of vested interest of different stakeholders. The violence here has followed a very disturbing pattern similar to the Gujarat pogrom of 2002. The actual violence started with 2 Hindus killing 1 Muslim youth over an alleged harassment and then getting lynched by the others in the village. Taking advantage of the incident, local politicians of Bharatiya Janata Party, a right-wing Hindu nationalist group, organized inflammatory Hindu caste-based meetings in late August last year. Muslim hardliners belonging to Bahujan Samaj Party and Congress joined the campaign by organizing their own meetings. Sporadic incidents of violence took place, resulting in large-scale violence on December 7 with Hindus targeting Muslims. Violence spread like wildfire and 9 Muslim minority villages were worst affected, with Kudba Kudbi witnessing 8 murderers. AHRC visited some of the camps and talked to the survivors of the riots.
कुछ नहीं बचा है, कुछ नहीं छोड़ा। 3 सर की भी नहीं बची थी। बताओ हम आपसे क्या लेने जाना, मानो बता दो, सुभान मुँह चले जाओ।
रूबी, आपका गांव कहाँ है? रिसाड़। तो आप यहाँ क्यों आ गए? लड़ाई हो गई? किससे लड़ाई हो गई? दादा दादी को काट दिया? जी जी जी। किसने काट दिया? जाटों ने। तो उन्होंने कोई गलती की थी? नहीं जी, उनको काट दिया नहर में फेंक दिया। तो आप गांव जाओगे वापस? क्यों नहीं जाओगे? डर लग रहा है। आपकी पढ़ते थे आप पहले? आप पढ़ाई का क्या हुआ? आपका गांव कहाँ है? लाख है। तो आप लाख से यहाँ क्यों आ गई?
जिन आ गए, हमें काट दिए गए। काट दिया मैं गांव से, निकाल दिया, मेरे बच्चे को मार दिया।
आपके बच्चे को मार दिया? कितनी उम्र थी बच्चे की? 13 साल। 13 साल के बच्चे को मार दिया। बल्लम से मारा। तो आपने मुकदमा किया है उसका? मुकदमे में कोई गिरफ्तारी हुई? आप जानते हैं जिन लोगों ने मारा? जानते हैं, नाम से नामजद FIR।
Months after the violence, the police have largely failed to arrest and prosecute those responsible for attacks, including brutal cases of rapes, gang rapes, 13 of which had been registered. The failure of the police to act in rape cases have forced other victims into silence. Fear psychosis has forced hundreds of early marriages in the relief camps due to their perception that it will protect the girls from sexual violence. The situation of the victims has only worsened with onset of severe cold resulting in the death of many of the victims, mostly children.
ये कितनी बड़ी है बच्ची आपकी?
बच्ची ऐसी हो गई होगी 1.5-2 महीने की होगी।
1.5-2 महीने की।
जी हाँ।
कैंप में कब से हैं आप?
हमें तो जी ऐसे होगा कोई करीबन 4 महीने ही होगा।
4 महीने हो गए। तो
हाँ,
मतलब
ज्यादा
बच्ची
ही।
कैंप में ही पैदा हुई?
हाँ जी यहीं पे हुई।
कोई डॉक्टर आई थी, मिडवाइफ आई थी?
ना दाई बुलाई थी जी।
दाई आपने बुलाई थी?
हाँ, जी।
सरकारी मिडवाइफ नर्स कोई नहीं आया
ना,
था?
कोई नहीं आया।
तो इतनी छोटी बच्ची है कैंप में, ये टेंट में रह रही है, यहाँ तो पानी गिरता होगा, ओस चूती होगी,
नमूनिया हो जावे अभी नमूनिया इस दवाई चली अभी नमूनिया इस
अभी तो
उसको
दवाई चल-
निमोनिया हो गया था।
जी हाँ।
नमूनिया कई फेरी हो गया
These are the grapes of the children that rubbish all the claims made by the state, the UP state government, that there aren't many deaths from cold and hunger in the relief camps.
In the studio now, we have Avinash Pandey, who has visited several of the camps in Uttar Pradesh. Welcome, Avinash Pandey. You have visited several camps, so what is your impression about the living conditions in the camps?
Terrible is the word. Absolutely unfit for human to live in those conditions. Means like when I visited one of the camps, it was the temperature that night was 0.3 degrees centigrade, and people were living in the protection of nothing more than plastic sheets. Means just night before there were death of a child in the camp, and means as I told you people, like in the earlier visit, in the earlier dispatch I sent from there, means like many of the children and elderly died in the cold conditions. They had nothing to eat, nothing to, means like, but for the community support, but for the local people supporting them, they had nothing to depend upon.
So the situation seems extremely grim. So what assistance they are getting from the government?
Unfortunately, in this case, I would say that not only that they aren't getting anything from the government, they aren't even getting lip service. When we reached, the government has started demolishing the camps because it could not survive the embarrassment anymore, which was coming its way. So the government, in a move which was heavily criticized by the Supreme Court, offered a lump sum compensation to 500,000 to only those people who came from villages where riots had ended in murders. And the compensation came with the precondition that you will never go back to your villages. So people were made to leave their villages, their ancestral villages, which they have been inhabiting for like centuries.
So do you think that there's an urgent need for an anti-communal violence law in India?
Of course, and unlike the earlier times, means like unlike the present one, which puts the onus only on the minorities, we need an open one, which punishes whoever the perpetrators are, irrespective of their religious denominations they belong to. Means like we very urgently need one. More so because nowadays these communal sectarian tensions and sectarian violence is being used very often to whip up political gains, and that is like the biggest threat to democracy in India.
In Pakistan, a 16-year-old boy has sacrificed his own life in order to save 2,000 fellow students by preventing a suicide bomber from blowing up the school. The incident took place in Hangu in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, KPK province, which has become a stronghold for the Taliban. The boy, Atizaz Hussain, was standing outside the gate of the school with two other schoolmates when a man in his early 20s approached pretending to be there for enrollment. Meanwhile, one of the students spotted a detonator in his body and ran for life. However, courageous Atizaz got hold of the bomber, who instantly detonated his vest and caused his death. Eyewitnesses said the attacker was dressed in school uniform. It is reported that Taliban terrorists have blown up more than 600 schools, including girls' schools, in the KPK province and the tribal areas bordering Afghanistan. The Pakistan government has failed to take any action to protect the school premises and students from the attacks of the Taliban's brutalities. An Indonesian domestic helper has been severely tortured by her employer in Hong Kong. Iriwana Sulistya Nising arrived in Hong Kong in May last year and endured 8 months of severe physical abuse by her employer. She was also denied any pay and days off during this time. Iriwana tried to seek help from her employment agency, whom sent her back to her employer because she had not paid off her illegally inflated agency fee. Iriana finally managed to get onto a flight back to Indonesia and is currently being treated for her injuries in a hospital in central Java.
After we heard this issue and then we know that this is happening in Hong Kong, on Sunday we have protest in front of the Indonesian consulate, and then we asking the Indonesian consulate what their reaction, because we know that this is must be Indonesian government take responsibility regarding this case. We asking Erwiana, do you try to run away from the employer when you get physical abuse? And then Erwiana said, yes, I try to run away, but when I report to the agency asked me to go back to the employer, because the agency also said you cannot run away. You can run away if you finish to settle the agency fee. So that's why many of migrant workers just keep silent in the house, because they also afraid if they didn't pay the agency fee, it means that they also worry with their family. Sometimes the recruitment agency will threaten the family also if the domestic worker didn't finish the agency fee.
Every time she made mistake, the employer hit her, and she doesn't know who else to call, because the agency, the only person she knew in Hong Kong, has been denying and put her in the employer house, who will actually abuse her every day. After 8 months of leaving the employer house, the employer tried to cover up the assault by sending her back to Indonesia silently. The employer sent her to the Hong Kong International Airport and put her inside and telling her, if you tell anyone, I will kill your family back home.
So first is the first time the Hong Kong police refused to doing investigation, because the police is say that it must be Erwiana itself doing report to the police in Hong Kong. But you know that everyone already know this is Erwiana is the victim of the torture in Hong Kong. So why the Hong Kong police still asking and then still waiting Erwiana to come to Hong Kong to report to the police?
Despite protests by politically motivated groups in Sri Lanka who were demanding a hold to the mission, Stephen Rapp, Ambassador at Large for War Crimes Issues at the US State, has concluded his official visit in the island nation. During the visit, Ambassador Rapp listened to eyewitness accounts about the serious human rights abuses and violations of international humanitarian law, including those that occurred at the end of the war. A statement released by the embassy elaborated, the United States remain committed to the working with the government of Sri Lanka to promote greater peace and prosperity for all of the people of Sri Lanka. It is vital that all sides come to an agreement on events, have appropriate redress, and move forward as a unified country that upholds the rule of law and respects the principles of democratic governance. It is widely believed that observations made by the Ambassador Rapp in the post-conflict area and the country at large will have a very real influence in the forthcoming UN Human Rights Council in Geneva to be held in March. Also in Sri Lanka, religious extremism and intolerance is threatening to erupt in the country. Recently, unidentified armed groups carried out attacks on a number of churches in southwestern Sri Lanka. Those are new incidents in the series of attacks launched by similar religiously motivated groups believed to be sponsored by a certain section in the government. The Assembly of God and the Cleverly Free Church in Hakadua were attacked on January 11. In the early morning of January 12, a mob attack was reported on a prayer center in Homagama. Speaking to the media, Pastor Chinthana Prasanna of Assembly of God, Hikadua, said that the prayer center sustained serious damage in the attack, adding that a Buddhist monk who was in the mob had threatened to kill him. The government seems less concerned about the attacks and has made no effort to restore security in the area. According to Pastor Prasanna, the Buddhist monks who were present have been identified and their names handed over to the police. So far, little action has been taken by the government. In today's Voices of Survivors, we listened to Ananta Kalita, who survived torture and several gunshot wounds by police in Assam, India.
মোৰ নাম শ্ৰী অনন্ত কলিতা, মই হাজোৰ বাসিন্দা হয়। 99 16 ছেপ্টেম্বৰ ঘৰৰ পৰা উঠাই নিয়ে দুৰ্বৃত্তৰ লগতে পুলিচৰ ব্যক্তিৰ লগত জড়িত আছিলে সেই সময়ত গোটেইকেইটা কথাখিনি মই গম পাওঁ আৰু মোক উঠাই নি ডাইৰেক্ট কাহিনীৰ পৰা টেনিফি বিয়ানত ৰাখিছিলে তাত নিশা ৰখাৰ পিছত মোক মাৰিবলৈ লৈ গৈছিল জৰাবাদ পাহাৰৰ ওপৰত আৰু তাতে মোক গুলিয়াই সোঁফালৰ কাণৰ তলে গুলিয়াই বাওঁফালে ওলাই যায় আৰু সেনেকৈ মই বহু সময় পিছত পৰি থকাৰ পিছত মই ইয়াত আহে আৰু সংজ্ঞা কৰি আহে আৰু লগে লগে মই এখন ট্ৰাকৰে আহি পেলাই বেলতলাত আহি উপস্থিত হওঁ আৰু বেলতলাৰ পৰা কোনোবা মানুহে মোক মেডিকেলত ভৰ্তি কৰায় আৰু মেডিকেলত প্ৰায় এমাহ থকাৰ পিছত মোক বহুত টকা পইচা খৰচৰ প্ৰয়োজন হৈছিলে আৰু এনেকৈয়ে ঘৰৰ মানুহে মোক বচাই অনাৰ পিছত চাৰিওফালে পেপাৰ মাধ্যমত প্ৰচাৰ হয় কথাটো আৰু পেপাৰ মাধ্যমত মানে প্ৰচাৰ হোৱাৰ পিছতে ঘূৰাই দিব লাগে গভমেণ্টে তেতিয়া এনকুৱাৰী ঘোষণা কৰা হয় 2-3টা এনকুৱাৰী হোৱাৰ পিছত শেষৰ এনকুৱাৰীত জ্ঞানচকীয়া কমিশ্যনে তেতিয়া চৰকাৰ মহান্ত চৰকাৰক সমালোচনা কৰিব দোষী সাব্যস্ত কৰে আৰু দোষী সাব্যস্ত কৰাৰ পিছতো আজি 10 বছৰৰ পিছতো কোনো ধৰণৰ একশ্যন নহ'ল আৰু বৰ্তমান চৰকাৰে 5 লাখ টকা তেতিয়া ঘোষণা কৰিছিলে আৰু 5 লাখ টকাটো মই বহুত দেৰিকৈ পাওঁ আৰু তাৰপিছত কোনো ধৰণৰ এতিয়ালৈ ব্যৱস্থা লোৱা নহ'ল দোষী ব্যক্তিসকলৰ ওপৰত আৰু এতিয়াও মোৰ বহুত শংকা আছে সেই শংকাত ভুগি আছোঁ যিহেতু বৰ্তমানৰ মোৰ ছিকিউৰিটি আছে আৰু সেই শংকাৰ মাজতে মই ছিকিউৰিটি লৈ থাকিব লগা হৈছে কিন্তু আজিলৈকে চৰকাৰে কোনো ধৰণৰ দোষী সাব্যস্ত কৰা ব্যক্তিসকলক কোনো একশ্যন লোৱা দেখা নগ'ল
That is all for this week's Human Rights Asia Weekly Roundup. For more information on these issues, log on to www.humanrights.asia. Thank you for watching and hope to see you next week. Bye-bye.